You know, right there in your neck, there's a small butterfly-shaped gland that's basically the master controller for your entire body. It's your thyroid. And while it might be tiny, believe me, its impact is absolutely massive. So today, we're going to dive into how this powerful little gland works, what happens when things go a bit haywire, and what you can do about it.
Okay, let's get right into it. Have you ever had those days, or maybe even weeks, where you just feel off? You're totally exhausted for no good reason, or maybe you're feeling anxious out of the blue. These kinds of vague symptoms can be so frustrating, but a lot of the time they point back to one single place: your thyroid.
So to really connect those feelings of being off to an actual cause, we've got to start with the thyroid's main job. And it's a big one. It's not an exaggeration to call it the body's master regulator.
Honestly, the best way to think about it is like this. Your thyroid is the engine control unit for your body. It produces these hormones that set the pace for, well, everything. It tells your cells when to speed up and when to slow down. This one gland is in charge of your energy, your heart rate, your body temperature. It literally controls the rev of your entire system.
So how do you actually pop the hood and check if that engine is running the way it should be? Well, it all comes down to decoding a few simple blood tests. And together, they give you a really clear picture of what's going on.
It all works on this really brilliant feedback loop. First, your brain sends out a messenger called TSH, that's Thyroid Stimulating Hormone. Think of TSH as the brain basically saying, "Hey thyroid, I need some power." The thyroid gets that message, and in response, it produces its main hormone, T4. And that T4 is what actually goes out into your body to set your metabolic speed.
And if you look at this chart, you can really see that feedback loop in action. It's super clear. If your thyroid isn't making enough hormone, so your T4 is low, the brain has to basically shout to get its attention. That makes your TSH level go way up. That's hypothyroidism. But on the flip side, if your T4 is too high, the brain just whispers, so the TSH level drops really low. And that's hyperthyroidism. A healthy thyroid is all about that perfectly balanced conversation.
So let's dig into that first problem. What happens when your body's engine is just running way too slow? Well, that condition has a name, and it's hypothyroidism.
At its core, hypothyroidism is just a full-body metabolic slowdown. I mean, without enough of that thyroid hormone, everything starts to decelerate. Your energy production plummets, your digestion slows down, heck, even your thoughts can feel sluggish. It's really like you're trying to drive a car with the parking brake stuck on.
All right, now for the complete opposite problem. What happens when that engine is just revving completely out of control? This, my friends, is hyperthyroidism.
Hyperthyroidism, which is sometimes called thyrotoxicosis, is when the thyroid just floods your body with way too much hormone, and it puts everything into overdrive. A really common cause for this is something called Graves' disease, which is an autoimmune condition where your own immune system accidentally tricks the thyroid into working way too hard. And right here, you can see just how these two conditions are perfect opposites. It's so clear. With hypothyroidism on the left, everything slows to a crawl, right? So you get fatigue, weight gain, feeling cold. But with hyperthyroidism on the right, the body is just racing, causing anxiety, weight loss, a rapid heart rate. They are literally mirror images of the same system malfunctioning in opposite ways.
Now, beyond just hormone levels, thyroid issues can also show up as actual physical changes to the gland itself. So let's talk for a minute about things like nodules and goiters.
So, a thyroid nodule is simply a lump that grows inside the thyroid gland. Now, I know the word lump can sound pretty scary, but it is so important to know that these are incredibly common, and the vast majority of them, we're talking over 90%, are benign, which just means non-cancerous. A lot of times, people don't even know they have one until it's found by accident on some other scan.
A goiter, on the other hand, isn't a single lump. It actually refers to the general swelling or enlargement of the entire thyroid gland. So a goiter doesn't tell you why the thyroid is enlarged. It could be from a few different things. It just means the whole gland itself has gotten bigger.
Okay, so after all of that, you're probably wondering, what can actually be done about all this? Well, I have some really good news. Thyroid conditions are highly manageable.
So what's the game plan? Well, it always starts with a diagnosis from simple blood tests. If you have hypothyroidism, that's slow engine, the fix is often really straightforward. You just replace the missing hormone with a daily pill. For hyperthyroidism, there are a few options, including medications to slow that gland down. And as for nodules and goiters, they're usually just monitored, and what happens next really depends on their size and what's causing them.
And this right here, this might be the most important takeaway of all.
This explainer gives you the framework, but thyroid care is absolutely not one size fits all. Treatment decisions have to be personalized. They have to be based on your specific lab results, your symptoms, and a real conversation with your doctor. This is definitely not a do-it-yourself situation.
Your thyroid is kind of like the quiet conductor of your body's symphony. Understanding how it works is really the first step to taking charge of your well-being. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. After everything we've talked about, what's one small step you can take, maybe starting today, to just listen a little more closely to what your body might be trying to tell you?